Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live pop-up chat. I hope you've all had a really amazing 24 hours and a really fabulous day. Right, I can't believe it's Tuesday. I keep getting my days mixed up today. It does not feel like a Tuesday. It feels like a Monday to me, but it is Tuesday the 11th of February 2020 and we have some royal stories to talk about. I didn't really know what to call this video because there's quite a few stories, but I think the talk of the day is most definitely the very unexpected separation, which will lead to divorce, obviously, of Peter Phillips, Princess Anne's son, the Queen's eldest grandson, and his wife, Autumn Phillips, who was formerly Autumn Kelly before she married. So I'm going to get straight into that story as soon as I have found the chat room. So I'm going to wait for people to come in for a little bit, and then we'll get talking because there's quite a few things that we need to kind of talk about. Um, so first of all, let me know in the comment section, did you see this coming? There was one sign, which we'll talk about in a moment. Some people did kind of pick up on it. I remember at the time people asking about it. But did you see the signs? Did you expect this coming? Do let me know. Yes, hello to everyone. By the way, I'll start at the top of the chat. I am wearing Queen Victoria's diamond and sapphire tiara replica. So just get a good look at that beautiful tiara. I'm also wearing, now this is actually one of my favourites. It's not actually a royal replica, but it was gifted to me by one of the viewers. And it's a beautiful large pearl and faux diamond brooch, which I just love. I just love the kind of oversized jewellery. Right, let's get straight into it. So we are 2 minutes in and we're going to talk about the divorce. So, I think what I should probably do is start with the actual statement. So, that's always, I think, a really good place to start, and then we can dissect that and then talk about lots of other things around it. So, this statement was not released by Buckingham Palace or anything like that because Peter Phillips and his wife Autumn are private citizens. So this statement was released jointly as a couple by their own spokespeople, and I'm going to read it now. So, by the way, I did make a video on this as well, so if you want to see the statement, go check out the video. So it reads, they had reached the conclusion that this was the best course of action for their two children and ongoing friendship. The decision to divorce and share custody came about after many months of discussions, and although sad, is an amicable one. The couple's first priority will remain the continued well-being and upbringing of their wonderful daughters, Savannah, 9, and Isla, 7. Both families were naturally sad at the announcement, but fully supportive of Peter and Autumn in the joint decision to co-parent their children. Both Peter and Autumn have remained in Gloucestershire to bring up their two children, where they have been settled for a number of years. Peter and Autumn have requested privacy and compassion for their children while the family continues to adapt to these changes. So let's kind of dissect the statement bit by bit. So this statement is using lots of language which very much says that it is a joint decision. It's they have reached the conclusion that this was the best course of action, and they did use the phrase their ongoing friendship. So ongoing friendship tends to mean that perhaps they've been living as a couple more as friends. Maybe, well, we don't know how long because obviously these things are private, but it seems to me like they have been living more as friends rather than a married couple. The decision to divorce and share custody, so we know that they plan to share custody. There isn't going to be a big custody battle, not that we're aware of at the moment. I know things can change, but at the moment, going by this statement, at this point in time, their intention, they have stated, is to share custody. Came about after many months, so at least we know it's many months, although, could be years, of discussions. And although sad, is an amicable one. So there's no fallings out, according to this. Apparently, they have come to this conclusion themselves. They have stated their first priority will be their children, which always it should be in these sorts of matters. Both families were naturally sad at the announcement, so that does express that, obviously, the Queen will be sad. There have been unofficial reports and claims from palace insiders that the Queen has been sad. This statement just says that both sides of the family are sad, which, we can take that to mean that the Queen is sad. The Queen did have quite a close relationship to Autumn, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that this will be another sad occasion for the Queen in recent months. It does say that both Peter and Autumn have remained in Gloucestershire, which is where they live, to bring up their two children where they've been settled for a number of years. So this to me hints at the fact that perhaps they're going to stay in Gloucestershire, stay in the UK. There have been lots of talks. Will Autumn return to Canada? Will Autumn take the children away to Canada? I don't think so. At this point in time, going by this statement, I think it sounds like they intend to stay in the UK. Of course, I am pretty sure that Autumn will be flitting perhaps to and from the UK to go back to her native homeland of Canada. However, she has lived in the UK a great number of years now. She has got her own friend set. She has her family. And it looks to me like they intend very much to co-parent jointly. So I don't see some kind of permanent move for Autumn on the cards. I am sure she's been, returning home for a number of years to go and visit family, or family's been coming over to see her over here. So no, I don't see a move for Autumn on the cards. However, things could change. We don't know. But going by this statement, it seems to me like she intends to stay here in the UK. Peter and Autumn have requested privacy and compassion for their children, whilst the family continues to adapt to these changes. So it is still very new and probably not completely 100% thought out at the moment. They just know that this is what they're going to do, and obviously, this statement is what they intend to happen. They just don't know the exact way, I don't think, to get there at present, which is completely understandable. These things take time. These things have to be worked out so that the main priority, the children, are taken into account, and that there is a kind of smooth transition to their new life. Let me go and see what people are saying about this. Were you shocked? Oh, before I read the comments, I will say, I spoke about a clue. So, the clue that some people spot... Well, I don't know whether anyone noticed what it might lead to, but if you remember at Christmas time, on Christmas Day, Peter was at Sandringham spotted by himself. And I remember in the chat some people said, "Oh, where's Autumn?" And I didn't know where she was. It could have been, I think at the time I said, well, maybe she's decided to spend time with her family and he spent time there, and then they'll kind of meet up on the day, or maybe they stayed behind at Sandringham. We didn't know at the time. Some people spotted her absence. Now that could have been a clue that perhaps things were not okay in their side of the camp, but yes, that was probably a sign, because I think she had been there when they had been there. She had been there previously with Peter. So yes, that perhaps was a sign. Christine says the Peter and Autumn story was a shocker to me. It was, most definitely. James Medford says the brooch looks like a piece Queen Mary would love. I am sure she would. And if she requested it of me, I would have given it to her. Louisa said, did not see this coming. Haven't adjusted to Harry and Meghan being gone either. This is a very, very, very shaky time for the royal family with regards to things going on in their private lives. There has been an awful lot going on. An annus horribilis regarding to the last 12 months. Quite possibly. I think, publicly the work that the royal family have been doing, including Harry and Meghan as well, up to this point has been remarkable. I don't think we've ever had a period where we've had so much really good work going on in the royal family. juxtaposed with terrible turmoil behind the scenes in their own private lives. It really is a yin and yang situation going on right now. So yeah, I mean there is a lot going on right now behind the scenes. Soul Cages says, I was surprised. I've been following the news of Harry and Meghan, but I hadn't heard any other news of the royal couples. Lee says, I hate to see any marriage to end in divorce, although it looks like they're going to approach this in an amicable way. I will say that. At least that's friendly to each other. There was also talk, I mean, I think there have been stories, and I don't know how true these are, so take these with a pinch of salt, but there have been stories suggesting that Peter didn't suspect anything, that this is perhaps something that Autumn has come to a decision that she wants, and that Peter apparently thought that everything was okay. Again, I will stress, we do not know if that is true. That is just some of the talk that's been going on, and there will be a lot of tittle-tattle behind the scenes, but I thought I would just point that out, that actually, if you're seeing that out and about, and you're seeing newspapers or online articles trying to push that as the truth, the simple truth is that we don't know. We don't know if that's true. So I just thought I would mention that, not to try and further push out that speculation, but just to say that actually we don't know if that's true. So just be very, very wary of those sorts of stories, because they are unsubstantiated. Again, Little Annie, you just said my point. According to the BBC News, they have been separated since last year. If the BBC would have known that, they probably would have said it last year. So we must take these things with a little pinch of salt at the moment. Doesn't mean it's not true, but it doesn't mean it's true either. Barbie Longfellow says, did not see it coming, which proves none of us really know what goes on behind closed doors. Indeed, even with the statement, we will never really know it's private. But at least that is at least a line of something official that we have to go on. Hello to the Duchess of St Andrews. Yes, it is very depressing. I don't like it either when relationships break down. It's not good. Lizzie Kay says, why would we know the truth? We don't know them personally. Again, I believe the BBC. Anybody can choose to believe who they want. That's what I'm trying to say. There are going to be so many people that have their opinions, that put them out there, that will not state, as I do, that things are speculation. And people will choose to believe whatever they want to believe. Which is why I started this conversation with the official statement that we do have. Whether or not you choose to believe the official statement, at least that is something concrete that we do have to go on, which is exactly why I structured this conversation in this way. Right, and I don't think there was anything else particularly I needed to say on that. No, I don't think there was. No. Except to say that Autumn Kelly, when she married Peter, she was a Roman Catholic, and she did have to renounce her faith and convert to the Church of England prior to marriage, and that was to prevent Peter from being pushed out of the line of succession at the time. So she did actually do that. They did get married on the 17th of May 2008 at St George's Chapel in Windsor Castle. And the couple have lived previously for a while in Hong Kong. And obviously we've had news in recent weeks about, but there's kind of been a light shone on all of any connection to the royal family's personal dealings. So we've seen Peter Phillips, for example, advertising milk. So there's been a lot going on. I will most definitely say that. Right, I think it's time to move on to the next story. So we are 14:30 for this one. Sorry, I'm just writing down a timestamp. It does help people in the videos. So, right, the next story, Princess Anne. So, we know that since Harry and Meghan have stepped back from being senior royals, Prince Harry has lost all of his military appointments, which I know will be a terrible, terrible blow to Prince Harry personally. I am pretty sure that that is something that that's probably one of the only things I think that will really, really be a wrench for Prince Harry, because he is so attached to the military. Having served in it for a number of years, he feels incredibly passionately about his military appointments, and to lose them will have been a huge blow. However, I think at least some comfort will probably come to him in that at least one of those appointments is rumoured to be announced this week to be going to Princess Anne. And in the wake of Prince Harry not being able to now fulfil that role, I think the only other perfect person in the royal family to take on that role is indeed Princess Anne. You know, and of course I am talking about the Captain General of the Royal Marines. This was given to Harry by his grandfather, the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, and I think obviously the Duke passed that on to Harry because he wanted Harry to have that, and he knew that Prince Harry would really feel passionately about that. However, Princess Anne is said to be one of the Duke's favourite children, and Princess Anne is pretty much at capacity, but in terms of work. But I am sure that she will find time to take on this. So Princess Anne is already associated with 65 military organisations and is often named as one of the hardest working royals. And I will point out that of those 65 military organisations, all of them express how wonderful she is. All of them are incredibly grateful for the support, dedication and service that Princess Anne has given over all of her working life. So she is not going to be a disappointment to the Royal Marines. They will get, in Princess Anne, in the absence of Prince Harry, they will get a dedicated and committed Captain General. So I think that, you know, if they can't have Harry, I think Princess Anne will be an amazing replacement. So we think that Harry is going to come back to the UK and do a final round of engagements in the spring. So perhaps he may do his last duty as Captain General of the Royal Marines during that phase. We don't know. We haven't got any confirmation on that. So Harry took on that role that Prince Philip held for 64 years back in 2017. And if you watched my channel back then, you will know that I actually covered that. I actually made a video about that. And that was in the wake of Prince Philip retiring from public duties. And at the time, he was understood to be particularly keen for Anne to take over from Harry. So I think this most definitely will be with Prince Philip's blessing. The honorary role for Anne is likely to be seen as inspiration for women, considering signing up as Marines. Yes, considering signing up as Marines. Why didn't I get that right? Only one enrolled for the grueling commando course last year. Women. Only one female, apparently, enrolled for the grueling commando course last year, despite more than 1,000 having registered an interest in that. Of the estimated 600 recruits of this year's course are all men. So there we go. And it does say that the Queen is expected to announce this appointment in due course. So do let me know, of course, what you all think about that. Christine says Princess Anne will do an excellent job. And Louisa says, like Princess Anne enormously. Miss Buttercup says, love Princess Anne. Apparently it's snowy and windy in Glasgow. Yes, she's incredibly hardworking. I will need a new notebook soon. You're very, very correct. Hello to Jill R, whose first chat in a while. Right, we're going to move on to the next story because time is pressing. Okay, next story. William and Catherine. So, there has been talk, and I will go to the source of it, and I think I'm probably going to post the link to this one so you can follow if you want to, so you can see what I'm kind of going from here. So there was actually a story this is where it started. I always think it's good if you can to go to the source of these stories. Now, this is a sort of story where, unless you get any official confirmation, you can't say whether it's true or not. However, this story originated in Australia from the Sydney Morning Herald, and they have got wind. Well, they claim they have got wind that there has been talk of a tour of Australia, in the summer. So I think that means the summer. I think they're referring to the summer UK time. I think, because if it's the other way around, it would be their summer is our winter. So I'm thinking it means the summer. Let me just see if I can see exactly when they're saying. Apparently, this has been discussed behind the scenes for weeks. Again, I will say that we don't actually know that has actually happened. It does say Prime Minister Scott Morrison is expected this week to issue the formal invitation needed to clear the way for the tour. Again, a lot of the times, a formal invitation is perhaps discussed with the UK government, and then a formal request is made, and then a formal request is accepted, and then obviously the tour will be configured and planned, and there will be recce visits done. So at the moment, we don't know whether this is actually going to go ahead, but we do think that this is going to be an opportunity for William and Catherine to go and see the devastation caused by the bushfires. So if this does go ahead, I am sure that the schedule will be quite heavily based upon visiting places which have been worst affected by the bushfires. Probably lots of animal charities and animal shelters and all that kind of thing as well. So this would be a very interesting tour. I think it would be a very worthwhile tour given what's been going on in Australia. I think the Australian people would greatly appreciate it. It's not understood at this point whether George, Charlotte, or Louis would be going. Again, we haven't even got an official announcement on this. So I don't think that the Sydney Morning Herald would have gone with this story if they hadn't heard any kind of rumblings about this. So I'm going to park that story there. As soon as I have any further details about this, I will of course let you know. However, there is one tour that we do have a detail for. So if you hop on to Kensington Royal, you will see an announcement of a tour, and I will read it. So it says, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge will undertake an official visit to Ireland between Thursday the 3rd of March and Thursday the 5th of March. The visit is at the request of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. Further details will be advised in due course. #Royal Visit Ireland. So, we do know that there is going to be a Royal Visit Ireland. I have heard stories and rumours about different engagements that could happen, different parts of Ireland that they may be visiting. However, we do not have any official confirmation on that, so it's probably not worth saying at the moment. But that looks another really, really interesting tour going on. Again, there has been an election in Ireland, and at the moment the government is still working out, it's still going through who it's going to be. So that will, of course, be a very, very interesting tour as well. One that I look forward to greatly. Let's just see what people are saying. Isis Star says it would help to see the come to support our nation's hardships. And Flo from Kaiser says, I will take as many photos as I can when they visit Dublin. That was one of the places I heard of. I did hear Dublin. But again, we haven't had any official confirmation on that, so I'm not going to quite go there yet. Tim says, the poor Queen, what a year. Indeed, what a year it has been. Right, the next story that I'm going to move on to. So I'm just... The little number on my screen is incredibly small. So the next story I'm going to move on to, and I am going to share a link to this one, is the Queen. The Queen has returned from Sandringham from her festive break. And if you watch my other video, I said, well, I kind of predicted that perhaps she would return on Monday, because obviously the accession day was over the weekend period, which meant that perhaps she would return on Monday or Tuesday. It was in fact Tuesday, so it was today. And we have a few photos of the Queen returning. So I've shared a link to the Metro, which has about 3 photos of the Queen returning at the station. So the Queen did return. She boarded a first-class carriage of the 10:44 service from King's Lynn, and she left Prince Philip behind at Sandringham. So he will be staying at Wood Farm, continuing his retirement, which is normal for the Queen and Prince Philip, and the Queen has now returned to resume her royal duties. So apparently the timing of the Queen arriving kind of matched moments before the announcement was officially made of Peter Phillips and Autumn divorcing. She was dressed in a blue coat and a patterned headscarf, and was carrying her trademark black handbag, which was obviously made and designed by Lorna. And she looked really, really good, I have to say. If I scoot up to the top, we can see she's wearing a beautiful blue headscarf. The outfit, to me, looks like an Angela Kelly design. Angela, do come on and correct me if I'm wrong, but it does look like a gorgeous Angela Kelly design. Now, a lot of the times, an outfit that Angela designs to be worn for a public engagement can often cross over, once it may have been worn a few times, into a private wardrobe capacity. So I'm not sure. I think I may have seen this on an outing before, but now obviously it's kind of been seen a couple of times in public for public engagements, and is now being used as part of the Queen's personal private wardrobe. And she's teamed it up with what looks to me like navy. Could be black, could be navy gloves, and of course her fabulous handbag. I think, to me, the shoes look navy too, so I'm gonna tentatively go with navy. If you have real eagle eyes, do let me know what you think. But the Queen looks gorgeous. She looks rested. Of course, she did have a cold over that period, which she recovered from, and she did also have quite a lot of, personal goings on with Harry and Meghan deciding to step back as senior royals whilst she was staying in Sandringham. So I'm hoping she's rested. She looks rested, and I'm hoping that she's going to return to her royal duties with a renewed vigour. But there we go. Let me know what you think about the Queen. Gail Ford says she does look great despite her age and the year it's been for her. Just wonderful looking. What tiara today? It is the Queen Victoria's Diamond and Sapphire. There we go. Lillian Rose says, I hope they can come to Australia. I do too. I want to see another royal tour. It would be really amazing. Right, I think I'm going to move on again. Let me just see what the next story is. Okay, now this story is one that's a little bit of a speculation story. I don't know how true this is, but I want to repeat it because it is quite sweet. If it is true, it is actually quite sweet and actually quite a good way of talking to children. So, this is what the story is. Again, I will say at the top of this that we do not know if it's true. It is, again, another one of those stories where a source claims, but it is quite sweet nonetheless. So let's just go with it for a moment. So it's about Prince George, and as we know, Prince George is going to be king one day, which is, it's a big thing for any child. And it's believed, a source has claimed, that William and Catherine, the way in which they've been preparing George for his future role, and the other children too, who obviously will grow up to be supporting George in his role, is they're doing it through storybooks. Now, I don't know if they've had custom storybooks made or not, but apparently they are kind of giving him little insights into what his future will be, his destiny will be, through the use of storybooks, which is a really good and age-appropriate way of, getting across quite a lot of information to a young child. And I think William and Catherine have probably got their children's mental health well and truly in mind. And I think they will be managing how George, Charles, and Louis grow up very, very carefully with regards to making sure they are fully prepared for the life ahead which they will lead. So if this story is true, I think it is a really, really great way of getting that information across to children. Of course, Catherine has worked extremely hard with early years development and mental well-being. So I think this story, if it is true, does kind of fit with, I think, the type of parenting model and role that William and Catherine would employ. So again, a source says, so we have to take it with a pinch of salt. I am by no way saying that this story is true, but at some point George is going to have to, take on board what his destiny is, and this does seem like a really, really lovely way of doing that, introducing George into royal life, gradually and carefully and mindfully. So even if William and Catherine aren't doing this right now, perhaps they should, because it does seem like a really, really good idea to do that. And as you know, I have previously worked in schools, and I think this is a really, really good way of doing that. Do let me know what you think. Gail Ford, going back to the Queen, says she does look great despite her age and the year it's been. Indeed. Sharon Welsh says that's a wonderful idea and will help them all enormously. I hope so. Barbie Longfellow says, we prepared our children for kindergarten and it's mind-boggling to think of having to prepare your child to be king. Indeed. Right. And I will mention as well as the final story of the day, I won't timestamp this one, but there has been a really, really great engagement today where William and Catherine and Charles and Camilla, actually I will timestamp it, 32. I will timestamp it. So there has been a double engagement. Now, I think this is the first time that William and Catherine and Charles and Camilla have been to the same engagement. Now, I'm not talking ceremony or service, I'm talking work engagement for probably about 9 years. And there has been lots of talk, I've read the comments about why this happened. The engagement they were attending has been a joint, not a joint project, but William and Charles have been enormously involved in the charity that they visited today. And of course they have brought along their wives to see the work that they've done. Now, there was one really, really lovely moment where William was practicing his wheelchair basketball skills. Of course, he was invited to take part in that game, and he was trying to shoot the basketball and he couldn't quite get there. So Charles saw that and thought, I'm going to help. So he ran over, he didn't run over, he walked over, and he pushed William closer so that William could take a better shot, and then he put his hands on his shoulders. He just looked like a really loving, fun dad. And yeah, I think that was a really special moment, I think, to be captured on camera. So if you have missed that moment, do go and watch my video about that engagement. But that is, we don't often see these kinds of double joint engagements. It is a very rare thing. Usually only when, two of the members of the royal family come together on a single project. But Charles and William have been involved in the same project. So this is why they came along and brought their wives to see that engagement. And of course, Charles and Camilla went on to continue a tour of the area. And Angelic says that was a very special moment. It was indeed. Christine says it was a wonderful engagement. It was. Holly says, love this show. Thank you so much. And that's it for today. I've made it through all the royal stories and I've tried to be as concise as possible, and I will, after this video has gone live, put the timestamps in, and also I will post any links that I've shared, so if you're watching you'll be able to follow. Just have a look in the description box. Right, so that's it from me for today. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media, and also of course do hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. Also, please do remember to subscribe to the channel. So from me in Shropshire, mwah to you all and goodbye.